After my father-in-law dragged my mattress out onto the lawn in front of neighbors and said, "Sleep where you belong," my husband shut the door. I curled beneath the stars, trembling. Years later, when they tried to sleep peacefully again, the thing I left on their bed made them. I don't even know how to start this because part of me still feels like I'm lying when I say it out loud. Like maybe I made it worse than it was. But I didn't. I know what happened. I remember every second. And even now, I still dream about that night. I still feel that cold.
Anyway,
I met my husband, Aaron, when I was 22. I had just moved across the country by myself. I didn't have much, just one suitcase, a waitressing job, and this feeling like I had to make my life into something bigger than where I came from. He was sweet.
calm.
He talked to me like he actually wanted to hear my answers. For a long time, he made me feel safe. We dated for about a year before getting married. It was fast, but it felt right at the time. I didn't have much family. My parents were both gone, and my extended family wasn't in the picture. So when I married Aaron, I thought I was finally gaining people. His parents. A home. That didn't happen. His mother was polite, but always distant. Like she was trying not to flinch when I walked into a room. She smiled with her mouth, but never her eyes. And his dad, James, he just stared. Cold, tight-lipped, never said more than a few words at a time. I always got the feeling he didn't like that I was just a waitress, or that I didn't grow up in the church like they had. There was this low-grade disapproval in everything he said. And when he didn't speak, it was worse.
Still, we didn't live with them then.
We had a little apartment and I was in nursing school, while Aaron worked in IT. Things weren't perfect, but I felt like we were building something. Then Aaron lost his job, and suddenly everything got tight. Rent, bills, groceries. We talked about moving in with his parents, just for a few months. He said it would help us get back on our feet. I didn't want to. I knew it wouldn't be good for me. But I agreed because I trusted him. Because I thought he'd protect me. That was my mistake. From the first week, James made it clear that I was a guest, not family. There were rules, but only for me. I couldn't leave dishes in the sink, even for a second. I had to ask before using the washer. I had to keep my books and laptop out of the common areas. I couldn't even sit on their couch unless I was actively doing something useful. Aaron didn't say much. He told me to pick my battles. He said his dad was just old-fashioned and didn't mean anything by it. It only got worse. I had class all day and worked evenings. I barely slept. Still, I was expected to cook dinner twice a week for everyone. His mom would remind me if I forgot anything, even if it was just a missing side dish. She once told me I should be grateful because most women would love to live rent-free in such a nice house. They made me buy my own mattress. I didn't even get to sleep in the guest bed because that was for company. So I slept on this thin, single mattress in the small room near the back of the house. No closet, no lock on the door, just a mattress on the floor and a lamp. I started to feel like I didn't exist when I left a room. Then came a night that changed everything. It was cold.
January.
I'd just finished a 12-hour shift, and my feet were aching so badly, I could barely walk straight. I got home around 10 p.m. and walked into the house, quiet as I could. I didn't even make it to my room. James was standing at the front door, holding my mattress. At first, I didn't even get it. I asked what he was doing. He didn't answer right away. He just opened the door and dragged the mattress outside, down the porch steps and into the yard. Then he turned around, looked me straight in the face and said, "You want to act like a stray, then sleep like one. Sleep where you belong."
The porch light was on.
The neighbors across the street were outside smoking. I heard one of them laugh. I turned to Aaron, who was standing behind James, watching. I waited for him to say something. Anything. He didn't. He didn't say a single word. He walked back inside and shut the door. Not hard. Not dramatic. Just closed it. Quiet. Like I was a noise he wanted to block out. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds before I started to shake. I didn't even have my shoes. Just scrubs and a thin jacket. I didn't have my phone. No car. Nothing. So I laid down on the mattress in the grass. I curled into a ball and stayed there until sunrise. No one came out. No one opened the door. That was the moment something in me died. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stopped feeling. I moved out 2 weeks later. Found a room to rent through a classmate. Worked more hours. Finished school. Aaron stayed with them. He didn't ask me to come back. Didn't apologize. Just sent me a text one day that said, "This isn't working anymore." He filed for divorce on my birthday. That was 6 years ago. I've rebuilt my life.
Slowly.
I've kept my head down. But what they did to me, what he did, has stayed with me. That night lives under my skin. And recently, something happened. James got sick. Real sick.
Terminal.
And Aaron moved back in with him to help out. I hadn't thought about them in a long time. But when I found out, something in me clicked. I did something I never thought I would. I'll write about that in another post. But just know, they didn't sleep peacefully for long.
Years later, I went back.
I left something on their bed. But that wasn't the end. I didn't plan to do anything. For a long time, I just wanted distance. To forget. I worked hard. Built a new life. Quiet apartment. Steady nursing job. Friends who didn't ask questions when I flinched at loud voices. But when I found out James was dying, it all came back. A former coworker of mine knew someone who still lived near Aaron's parents. That's how I heard. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. He was in and out of the hospital, couldn't walk without help. Aaron had moved back into the house, playing the good son. At first, I felt nothing. I thought maybe I was past it. But then I had this one night, couldn't sleep, just pacing the floor, and I remembered the exact weight of that mattress. How it bent when he dragged it. The way the grass was wet underneath. How the porch light never turned off. Something snapped. I knew what I needed to do. Not to hurt anyone. Not directly. But to remind them.
Of what they did.
Of who I was when they left me out there like garbage. I still had the house key. The original spare I was given when we first moved in. I'd kept it buried in a drawer, not sure why.
Now I knew why.
One night while James was still in the hospital and the house was empty, I made sure I let myself in. It was quiet. Same carpet. Same kitchen tile. Same hallway where I used to tiptoe just to avoid setting anyone off. Nothing had changed. The smell of that house hit me like a punch. Clean linen and something like cold metal. I went upstairs to the master bedroom. They'd replaced the bed frame.
But the quilt was the same.
So were the curtains. I laid out the thing I had carried with me for 5 years. A mattress. Not the same one, of course. That one was gone. But I'd hunted down the exact brand and model. Stored it for years in my storage unit, still in its plastic wrap. For some reason, I couldn't let it go. I set it up on the bed. No note. No message. Just the mattress, flat and waiting, on top of their own. Then I took their current mattress, queen size, expensive memory foam, and dragged it out the back door. I left it in the exact spot where I had slept that night. Dead center on the lawn. I didn't say a word to anyone. Just left, locked the door behind me, and disappeared. But that wasn't the end. 3 days later, I got a message. Not from Aaron. From his new wife. Yes, he got remarried. To a woman who, from what I heard, James actually liked. I don't know what she was told about me, but I doubt it was the truth. She messaged me on Facebook, something I'd almost forgotten I had. Her message was short. "What the hell did you do? James hasn't stopped screaming. He says you're inside the house. That you're under the bed. Aaron's sleeping on the couch. What's wrong with you?" I stared at the message for a long time. My hands were shaking. I hadn't expected that. Apparently, James was spiraling. He thought I was back. Not just in the house, but in the walls under the bed, watching him. He kept waking up screaming, swearing he felt cold hands on his feet at night. Aaron told her he was having dementia symptoms. Hallucinations. But I knew better. He remembered. He remembered that night. That porch light. That silence. He remembered what he did. What he didn't do.
I didn't reply.
But then things got strange. About a week later, I started getting hang-up calls. No number. No voicemail. Then one day I got a letter in my mailbox. No return address. Just my name. Inside was a single thing. A house key. My old one. The spare I used.
They were sending it back.
I thought it would end there. I really did. But then, 2 nights ago, someone knocked on my apartment door. I didn't answer. Just stood there, frozen, listening. It was 2:17 a.m. No one should have been outside. No one buzzed the main gate. Just soft knocking. 5 short taps. Then silence. This morning, I checked my doormat. There was a photo. An old one. From our wedding. Me and Aaron. His hand on my waist. James in the background. Staring at me. It was torn down the middle. Just me ripped out. My half missing. I don't know what this means. I thought I was done. I thought I was just reminding them. But now I don't know who's reminding who. I went back years later and left a mattress in their bedroom. But something's wrong now. Something is off. It's getting harder to write this. Not because I don't remember. If anything, I remember too much, but because things have started happening that I can't explain, and I'm starting to wonder if I made a mistake going back at all. I thought I was in control, that I was reclaiming something, but now I feel like I woke something up. After I left the mattress in their room and put theirs on the lawn, I thought the message was clear. I expected confusion. Maybe anger. I didn't expect fear. But that's what I got. That message from Aaron's new wife saying James kept screaming in his sleep. That he thought I was under the bed. That Aaron stopped sleeping in the room altogether. I thought it was guilt. Or paranoia. I figured they deserved a few sleepless nights.
But then more started happening.
A few days after the torn photo showed up at my door, I started hearing scratching. In my apartment. It sounds stupid. I know. I live alone. Top floor, no pets.
I'm not the type to imagine things.
But the noise started in the walls. Light at first, then sharper. Like fingernails. Always at night. Always after 2 a.m. Then I found something in my kitchen drawer that stopped me cold. A silver key. Not mine. Not the one I used on their house. Different shape, old-fashioned teeth. No label. I have no idea how it got there. I don't have visitors. I don't leave my door unlocked. I checked the locks. All still intact. And yet, the next day, I got a call at work from a blocked number. I didn't pick up, but they left a voicemail. It was 19 seconds of breathing. Nothing else.
Just that.
I almost went to the police. But what would I say? Years ago, I was thrown out by my in-laws, and now I think they're harassing me because I put a mattress in their house. There's no law against being remembered. So I stayed quiet. Until last weekend. I got a message from someone I haven't spoken to in years. Aaron's cousin. We were friendly once. Not close. But she liked me enough to keep in touch after the divorce. She messaged me late at night. Are you okay? I asked why. She didn't respond for hours. Then she sent a photo. It was a screenshot from Facebook, Aaron's mother's page. A post. Just a few lines. No picture. Some people don't stay dead the first time you bury them. The comments were disabled.
I don't know if it was about me.
I don't even know what she meant.
But it rattled me.
Because I have felt buried, forgotten, covered over in silence. And now I'm starting to feel like they're the ones digging things up. I tried to shake it off. Told myself I was being dramatic. I hadn't done anything illegal. They just didn't like being reminded of what they did. But then last night something happened that I can't explain away. I woke up at 3:12 a.m. That exact time. Because something was pulling on my sheets. Not a sound. Not a breeze. A tug. Like someone was trying to pull the blanket off my body, slow and steady. I sat straight up. No one was there. I turned on every light. Checked every window. Nothing. No sign of forced entry. No one in the hallway. But the blanket, the corner, was still pulled halfway off the bed. Folded like someone had lifted it carefully. This morning, under my pillow, I found something else. A piece of paper, torn from a notebook. On it, in shaky handwriting, was a sentence I haven't heard since that night. Sleep where you belong. I haven't told anyone. Not yet. Not in real life. I'm writing this now because part of me needs to believe this is still just a story. Something with logic, with rules, with a beginning and an end. But it's starting to feel like I'm being pulled backward. Like the past isn't finished with me. And maybe it never was. I thought the past was over. I thought I made them remember. But now I'm the one being haunted. It's not just about revenge anymore. It was at first. I wanted them to feel a sliver of what they made me feel. Not just James, but Aaron too. I wanted them to lose sleep, to stare at their ceiling, and remember the cold silence they gave me while I lay in the yard like trash. But now it's not just them losing sleep. It's me. I haven't had a full night in weeks. And it's getting worse. After the paper under my pillow, the one that said, "Sleep where you belong," I started locking my bedroom door. I live alone. I've never needed to before. But now, I push a chair up under the handle every night. Still, I wake up at 3:12 a.m. Almost exactly. Always 3:12. I've checked everything. I replaced the locks. I got a door camera. Nothing shows up. No one at the door. No footsteps in the hallway. Just me, waking up cold. Sheets messed up. Blanket halfway off. Always like someone's been there. I started sleeping on the couch. Didn't matter. Same thing happened. 3:12 a.m. Every time. Then something happened at work. I'm an ER nurse. I work nights sometimes, but recently I've been on day shift. One morning, I came in early to prep and saw a file sitting on my desk. Just a single manila folder.
No name on the tab.
I opened it. Inside was a blank patient intake sheet, except for one thing, scrawled across the patient concerns section. Mattress, lawn, porch light. That was all. I stood there frozen for I don't know how long. I asked around, but no one saw who left it. Security checked the cameras, nothing. Just an empty hallway. I left early that day. Took a cab home, because I was shaking too bad to drive. But when I got to my apartment, something was waiting for me. At my front door, tucked behind the doormat, was a Polaroid. A real one. Old school.
It was a picture of me, sleeping.
In my own bed. Blanket pulled halfway off. It was taken from the corner of the room. Near the floor. Like someone had crouched and taken it without waking me. I called the cops. They came, looked around, took statements. Said there was no sign of forced entry, no prints, nothing on the cameras. Just like before. They filed a report. Suggested I stay with someone for a while. I don't have someone. But here's the twist I didn't expect. The next day, I get a message from Aaron. First contact in over 4 years. It just said, "You need to stop. He's getting worse.
He's not sleeping."
My mom's scared. "I don't know what you did, but you've gone too far." I didn't answer right away. But a few hours later, he sent another message. "This isn't you." That one made me stop. Because I wasn't sure he was wrong. But I also knew something he didn't. It's not just me anymore. I didn't leave that photo under my pillow. I didn't take that Polaroid. And I sure as hell didn't write on that patient file. So if I didn't then, who did? I called his cousin. The one who messaged me before. I asked if she's noticed anything strange.
She paused.
Then she said something that's been echoing in my head ever since. "I don't think it's him anymore." I asked what she meant. She told me James, who's barely been eating, barely walking, is now refusing to sleep in any bed. Says the beds don't belong to him. That he wakes up choking. That he hears someone whispering in the walls. Her words, not mine. She said he started trying to sleep on the floor. No blanket, no pillow. Just curled up in a ball, staring at the door like someone's coming for him. She said Aaron walked in on him one night in the kitchen at 3 a.m., pouring bleach into the sink and muttering, "She's still in the house. I can smell the grass on her." I didn't tell her about the key, or the Polaroid, or the handwriting, but I did ask one thing. If James ever said what exactly I'd done to make him so scared. She said, "He thinks you buried something under the bed. Something that wants to come back up." I don't know what that means, but I haven't been able to sleep since. After that last update, I started sleeping in my car. I couldn't stay in my apartment anymore. I couldn't explain the scratches on my arms, the ones that showed up after I locked every window. I couldn't explain how the Polaroids kept coming, now tucked into my mailbox, always with a timestamp. 3:12 a.m. I stopped going to work. I started watching the door all night. I started whispering to myself without knowing it. I was unraveling. I don't think I was the only one. Aaron's cousin called again. James was getting worse. He stopped speaking in full sentences. Started writing things down instead. Over and over. The mattress is the grave. They found him in the hallway 2 nights ago, face down. Nails broken. Blood under his fingers like he'd been digging into the carpet. She didn't tell me to come, but I went anyway. Their house hadn't changed. Same porch light. Same front steps. Same patch of grass where I spent that night. The only difference was, now the lawn had a dead spot. Right in the middle. Like nothing would grow there anymore. Aaron opened the door. He looked tired. Older. Pale like he hadn't seen the sun in weeks.
We didn't speak.
He stepped aside and let me in. The smell hit me hard. Bleach. Old sweat. Something sour underneath. His mom was sitting on the couch, rocking back and forth, whispering a prayer I couldn't make out. Then he led me upstairs. To the room. The mattress I left was still there. Unmoved. Uncovered. Like no one had dared touch it. Aaron stood by the doorway. I stepped inside. It was ice cold. Like the kind of cold that presses into your ribs. I sat down on the mattress. I don't know why. And then I said it. The thing I hadn't said in all these years. You left me. His voice cracked. He told me not to open the door. I looked at him. And you listened. He didn't cry. I don't think he could. But I could see it. The regret, the shame. The cowardice that lived in his skin. He whispered something then. I think it followed you. I stood up. Walked toward him. And for a second, I almost forgave him. Then I saw what was behind the door. Another Polaroid. Taped to the wall. This one was different. It was James, lying on the mattress. Sleeping. Peaceful. And me, standing over him.
Hair down.
Eyes open. But I've never been in that house at night since I left. I turned to Aaron. He backed up. Started shaking. I didn't put it there, he said. I believed him. Because I didn't put it there either. I left the house around 3 a.m. I didn't take the key. I didn't take the photo. I left the mattress behind. But before I closed the door, I told Aaron one last thing. The house isn't haunted. You are. 3 days later, James died in his sleep. On the mattress. The one I left. Aaron found him stiff, eyes wide open, fingernails dug into his palms. And in his mouth, folded neatly, was the original note I left on their bed. Sleep where you belong. I could end the story there. But I won't lie. Because there's one more thing you need to know. I went home that night, thinking I'd won. That revenge had been served. But at 3:12 a.m., I woke up. On the floor. No blanket. No pillow. Just the mattress. The one I left behind. Somehow it was there. In my apartment. Laid out perfectly. Like it had followed me home. And written on the ceiling above my head, in thick black marker. Now you know what it means. I don't sleep anymore. Not really. Because now I understand. The house wasn't cursed. James wasn't cursed. The mattress is. And I'm the one who gave it a reason to stay. I carried it in my heart for too long. I turned it into a monument, a message. But when you feed something long enough, it grows teeth. I'm not asking for sympathy. I dragged it back into the house. I let it in. And now, every night, I lay down on it.
And wait.
Because someday someone will open the door again. And when they do, I'll be standing under the porch light,